Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Sr. here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, Week 16 previews. The Philadelphia Eagles hit the road to play the Washington Commanders in an NFC East rivalry game. This game will happen on Saturday, not on Sunday, in case you didn't know. December 20th, right around the corner. Kickoff is set for 5 p.m. Eastern. So kind of an odd start time as far as this game goes at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. Philadelphia, 6.5-point favorites. That line has gone up a half point, and the over-under at 44.5. Programming reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily elite coverage of the Eagles right here on YouTube from yours truly. But also, we go live for every single Eagles game. We're running it back again. We'll be live for an Eagles-Commanders watch party, the best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game. And as you hit that sub button, don't forget to hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications. Therefore, anytime we go live, anytime I push out a video like this, you will get that push notification. My thoughts on this game. It is really important for this Eagles offense to keep it rolling so that they can peak late after a very frustrating year with the playoffs coming up around the corner, and we'll talk more about that throughout this preview. Some big injury news for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts saying that the ankle that he injured at the end of the third quarter when he got tackled awkwardly by Devin White and that ankle got caught beneath him, not an issue. He was not listed on the injury report for the Eagles on Tuesday, practiced on Wednesday. He's going to start for the Birds once again against Washington this weekend. Marcus Mariota starting for the Commanders because Jane Daniels being sit for the rest of the year. He's dealt with the bevy of injuries. We'll also talk about him coming up. And the Commanders, they might be out of it, already eliminated from playoff contention. But to their credit and to Dan Quinn's credit, this is a team that continues to fight and play hard. And for all Eagles fans out there, we're hoping that after seeing encouraging signs from the Eagles offense against the Chargers, and then with Philadelphia's offense putting it all together and dropping 31 points in a rout of the Raiders, that this offense has found something, that the Eagles can peak late with the playoffs on the horizon. Hopefully that is the case because it's always great for the Birds to be hot late in the year. With a win on Saturday evening, the Eagles can win the NFC East. There has not been a repeat divisional winner in the NFC East since all the way back in 2004. So the Eagles looking to end a 2-decade drought. And you look across all other divisions across the National Football League, there has been repeat divisional winners as recently as 2024, 2023, 2022. The NFC East is the outlier. 2 decades in which there has not been a consecutive divisional winner. Now, if the Eagles do lose against Washington, but the Cowboys also lose against the Chargers, Philadelphia still wins the NFC East because the magic number is 1. And with that, you pop up the NFC East standings. Philadelphia ending that 3-game losing streak, beating the Raiders 31-0. They lift their record to 9-5. The Cowboys, calendar turns to December. They went from the hottest team in football to losers of 2 straight. Classic Dallas, 6-7-1. Commanders at 4-10 last week. They beat the New York Giants, and the hapless G-Men 2-12. And how about this tweet from Mike Sealski, who does a great job covering Philadelphia sports for the Philadelphia Inquirer? The Eagles are about to win the NFC East for the 12th time in the last 25 years. In that span, they've had twice as many winning seasons as the Giants, 4 times as many divisional titles as the Commanders, and infinity times more Super Bowls than the Cowboys. You got to love that. What a beautiful sound and a beautiful sight that is. You take a gander at the NFC playoff picture. Of course, this game for Philadelphia does have playoff and seeding implications. I'm recording this show on Wednesday. The Rams travel to Seattle to play the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. So those records and potentially the seeds of both those teams will change in the aftermath of that Thursday game. But for now, Rams in the 1 spot, Bears the 2 seed at 10-4, Philadelphia in that 3 spot, holding firm at 9-5. The Buccaneers leading the NFC South once again at 7-7. And then the 3 wild card squads, Seahawks 5 seed at 11-3, Niners the 6 seed at 10-4, and the Green Bay Packers the final wild card position at 9-4-1. When I scout the Washington Commanders, this has been a disastrous season for Washington, considering the expectations that they had coming off of their best season in recent memory in 2024 when they made it to the NFC Championship game, and everything that was kind of working in their favor. It looked as though at the time they got their head coach right, got the quarterback right, Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, coming back once again after getting some head coaching interviews. They were very active in free agency, made a couple of solid pickups in the NFL draft over the last couple of years. The arrow was pointing up for the Commanders. But for them to have this record at this juncture of the year, to already be eliminated from playoff contention, very disappointing season for the Commanders. A very frustrating year 2 for Jaden Daniels, given all of the injuries that he's had. And I think the play has been somewhat subpar. To the Commanders' credit, their offensive line last year was a problem. They got housed by the Eagles in the NFC title game, and the Eagles were able to dominate in the trenches. The Commanders said, we can't let this happen again. We also have to get better in running the ball. So they made a couple of moves, including a trade for Laramie Tunsil. And in the trenches up front offensively, they are better. This team does still fight hard. It's not going to be a cupcake game for the Eagles like it was against the Raiders, because I think the Raiders team has given up on the year. And this Commanders team, the run game is solid with now Marcus Mariota playing at quarterback and then Ja'Cory Bill Krosky-Merritt, the rookie, at that running back spot. The Commanders, the news this week, shutting Jaden Daniels down for the rest of the season. They spoke with him and they said, we're going to sit you for the remainder of the 2025 campaign. He had a hamstring injury, then he had a knee injury, then he dislocated his elbow, missed a couple of weeks, came back, threw a pick, tried to make a tackle on Andrew Van Ginkel, and injured his elbow again. Commanders fans very worried about Jaden Daniels, considering what happened to the last quarterback they thought was going to be a franchise quarterback in Robert Griffin III, and they're erring on the side of caution here. And it's unfortunate because we won't get to see the next installment of this Jaden Daniels-Jalen Hurts rivalry. As far as Jalen Hurts goes, no lingering effects from his ankle injury. It was a scary moment against the Raiders. He got tackled by Devin White, and his body kind of bent backward. His foot and his ankle got caught underneath him. He got up right away, was clearly favoring that ankle, trying to shake it out. He did come back in to start the fourth quarter, threw that rope to A.J. Brown, then we didn't see him again. Nick Sirianni said we didn't see him again because the Birds were up 31-0, and Hurts did practice on Wednesday. Elsewhere on the Eagles injury report, again, recording this on Wednesday, December 17th. This is the injury report from Tuesday. Saquon Barkley was listed as a non-participant on Tuesday, did practice on Wednesday. And then you look at some of the other players here, no changes on the Eagles injury report. So with that, who you got? Type PHI for the Eagles, WAS for the Washington Commanders. Get those predictions in. I always want to hear what you all have to say. Coming up next, I'm going to give you my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, what the Eagles must do to win this game on Saturday evening. Let's first get to our sponsor. Today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, made possible thanks to our friends at Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. That place is Prize Picks. New feature alert, Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out of those winnings before the game even finishes. Is your fantasy season already over? Your team might be cooked, but with Prize Picks, you don't have to wait until next year's draft. Prize Picks lets you play fantasy football every week. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections every week. No draft required. And here's how you play the more or less game. 3-pick power play for Saturday, Dallas Goedert, more than a half rushing or receiving touchdown. Jake Moody, more than 1.5 field goals made. Saquon Barkley, more than 77.5 rushing yards. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. To the back half of our preview here. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr. Thanks for hanging out here with us. Coming up, Eagles Commanders on Saturday. I'm going to give you my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, what the Eagles must do to win this game, and I'll give you my prediction as well. This is going to be a rare Saturday game. And when you think about this Eagles 2025 schedule, they have played on Monday, they've played on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So an odd schedule in which the Eagles have had a lot of short weeks. They've played a lot of playoff caliber teams. They are certainly battle tested going into the postseason. Philadelphia 6.5-point favorites. That line has gone up about a half point, and the over-under for this game at 44.5. How the Commanders stack up. Jaden Daniels out for the rest of the year. Marcus Mariota, the former Eagle and Heisman Trophy winner from Oregon, will be the starting quarterback for Washington the rest of the way. The Commanders this season, frustrating year offensively because of the injury to JD and the overall lack of offensive production. They haven't been a consistent team regardless of who the quarterback has been. 24th in points per game, 18th in yards per game, 12th in yards per play, 18th on third downs. They're number 3 in the red zone. Last year, they're also good there and on third and fourth down. Defensively, the production, not good, especially for a defensive-minded head coach. 26th in points per game, 31st in yards per game. So Philadelphia should be able to move it here. 31st in yards per play. Could Philadelphia string together some explosives as well? 23rd on third downs, 28th in the red zone. You flip the page to the Eagles here. 18th in points per game at 22.9. 22nd in yards per game, 17th in yards per play, 23rd on third downs. And all year, they've been the most efficient red zone offense in the NFL, something that the Eagles have been able to hang their hats on. And then on defense, Vic Fangio is doing a heck of a job, man. 6th in points per game, 14th in yards per game, 10th in yards per play, 22nd on third downs, 4th in the red area. As far as my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, this Philadelphia Eagles offense needs to keep it rolling. And if they have a performance like they did against the Raiders, I think this Eagles fan base is really going to rally around this team, and a lot of Eagles fans are going to start to believe that this team can go back-to-back. And coming off that Raiders game and the Chargers game, I've been encouraged with what the Eagles have done, what they've accomplished, and some of the things they've experimented with on the offensive side of the pill against Las Vegas. Jalen Hurts coming off his struggle since the bye week. Sharp, decisive, and efficient. He was very dynamic with his legs. We saw under-snap efficiency. And I just like, from a conceptual standpoint, play designs, the scheme, play calling. Philadelphia's been smart, creative, and modern day. Credit to this coaching staff for being able to make in-season adjustments. And I thought against Las Vegas, the pass and the run game was balanced. I like some of the things they did against the Chargers, but they were way too pass heavy. And I thought against Las Vegas, they found that identity which worked last year. Being a balanced offense, having success on the ground, but also having some explosive and impressive plays through the air. And from a downfield route developing point of view, I like some of the things that the Eagles were able to devise. For the quarterback in Jalen Hurts, injured his ankle a little bit against Las Vegas, not going to be a worry for this game against Washington. And so when you think about Hurts, I think it's really important, obviously, for him to play in this game. But he's the leader of the cavalry, right? He's the leader of this team, the leader of this offense. This Eagles team needs to put together as many good and solid performances as possible from here on out to kind of gain that confidence, boost that morale, get the rhythm and the momentum going toward the NFL playoffs. You know that you have a Super Bowl caliber defense. If the offense can catch up a little bit, this team is really dangerous. And so why Hurts' health is important, Offense coming off a game in which they dropped 31 points. The last 2 games, a lot of positive signs from this unit. The playoffs are right around the corner. Find a rhythm and peak late. This Raiders game, I think, can get the Eagles offense rolling. They just needed a confidence boost here, and you want Hurts to play better and this offense to gain steam going into the big dance. Key to the game number 2, matchup to watch number 2. The Eagles pass rush against the Commanders offensive line. This Commanders offensive line was a problem last year. They got bullied up front in the trenches by the Eagles, especially in the NFC Championship game. And so a big focus for Washington this offseason, led by general manager Adam Peters, was to improve the offensive line. And they have. Now, keep in mind that some of these numbers can change depending on the database, but the point here is that this Commanders front has improved drastically from a year ago. They've only given up 33 sacks. That's number 1 in the NFL. The pressure rate given up, this number can vary, but number 1 according to Sumer Sports. Yards per carry for Washington, 4.79, best in the league. Their explosive run rate, 12.47%, also atop the 32 teams in the NFL, and they've surrendered 203 pressures this season. This will be a great test for this Eagles pass rush, especially without Jalen Carter. And since the addition of Jalen Phillips, I think it's helped to elevate everybody along that defensive line. Now you're going to go up against a playoff caliber offensive line. And from a matchup standpoint, I want to see how this Eagles front and defense holds up. Key to the game number 3. I can't wait for this matchup. Quinyon Mitchell against Terry McLaurin. Get your popcorn ready. Now, in the first game between Quinyon and Terry last year, Quinyon won that matchup. In the second matchup between these two, McLaurin had that touchdown downfield. In the third matchup, NFC Championship game, Quinyon had a pick of Jaden Daniels, and I thought he won that matchup against Scary Terry. McLaurin had that contract holdout this offseason, ended up getting paid. It's been a disappointing season for him in Washington, considering the investment, because he's missed a lot of time with various injuries, but he still put up really good numbers, and he's performed very well against the Eagles throughout his career. 26 catches for 409 this year, 3 touchdowns, and is still an explosive threat downfield with that long of 56. But he's going up against Quinyon Mitchell, Quinyon Mobe, and he's familiar with getting clamped by the Eagles' second-year corner, who I think this year is playing at an all-pro level. And look at where Quinyon Mitchell stacks up against all corners across the league. He's number 1 in catch rate, number 3 in passer rating allowed, number 1 in tight window forced, number 1 in average target separation, number 2 in yards after the catch allowed, meaning he's had a lot of blanket coverage this year, 4th in forced incompletions, 4th in passes defended, and in more than 800 total snaps this year, 500 from a coverage standpoint, no touchdowns given up. Another marquee matchup in this ball game, Cooper DeJean, the best slot corner in the NFL, against Deebo Samuel, who's had a solid year. And as we all know, going back to his Niners days, Deebo does not like the Philadelphia Eagles. And he will line up on the inside. He'll line up on the outside. You look at his snap alignment this season, he's been in the slot for 350 snaps. Out wide, 217 snaps. In the backfield as a gadget guy for 13 snaps. So there will be times when Deebo and Cooper DeJean are matched up one-on-one against one another. Deebo will also see Adoree Jackson on the outside. Adoree Jackson, not a great tackler. Cooper DeJean, fantastic tackler. Deebo Samuel has been known as the Yak King since coming into the league as the second-round pick in 2019. So tackling him in space with how physical he is, how hard he is to bring down, going to be a challenge. I think he's had a pretty solid season this year. 65 grabs for 604 yards, 5 touchdowns. Helped to carry the weight of the receiving core when Terry McLaurin was out. And then this is going to be a big one for the Eagles as well. Philadelphia has to stop the Commanders' run game. And since the bye week, it's kind of been up and down for this Eagles rush defense. They've been good against the Packers and the Lions, but bad against the Cowboys and the Bears, especially against Chicago when they gave up 284 rushing yards. This Commanders' rushing offense is efficient, they're explosive, they're consistent, and it has to do with the Commanders' offensive line being very much improved. And there's an avenue in which the Eagles could lose this game, although I'd be very surprised if they do lose. If the Eagles can't stop the run, this would allow the Commanders to control the game, control the clock, and keep this Eagles offense sidelined, which would hamper this Eagles offense because they badly need reps, need snaps to find a groove. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, one of the bright spots for Washington this year. And due to ridiculous college rules, barely played at Arizona last year, but the Commanders draft him, and he's been awesome. 143 carries, 646 yards, 5 touchdowns. And I think that he can continue to be a big factor for this Commanders offense moving forward. His nickname is Bill. You'll hear that on the broadcast. And then for Marcus Mariota, going back to Oregon with Tennessee, when he's gotten opportunities either with the Eagles, Las Vegas Raiders, Washington, they're going to run a lot of RPO, and he's going to keep it. So setting the edge for this Eagles defensive front and this Eagles defense is going to be important because if you crash, Mariota will keep it on some of these RPOs. Philadelphia got burned on that by Justin Herbert, and so they have to be cognizant of the fact that Mariota on design runs, RPOs, can still gash you with his feet and his legs. And pass rush lane discipline going to be important because if there's nothing there and you can't get to him, he can take off and pick up first downs, which can be deflating for the defense. Lastly, key to the game number 6. I'm giving you a bonus one compared to what we usually do. Philadelphia has to take care of business. What a wonderful opportunity the Eagles have in front of them to win the NFC East. And if Philadelphia beats Washington on Saturday, they will become divisional winners. And what an opportunity to celebrate back-to-back divisional titles in the NFC East by celebrating on the turf of the Washington Commanders. And as we know, there hasn't been a repeat divisional winner in the NFC East since the Eagles last did it in 2003-2004. So predict the score. Eagles, Commanders coming up on Saturday. Who you got? What's that score prediction? I think Philadelphia wins again in dominant fashion. They cover the spread for the second consecutive week. Give me the Birds 28-18, and in the process, they win the NFC East.